Hey, it's Katie, and welcome back to my booktube channel. So today is my birthday, and I am turning 22 today, which is very exciting. But I wanted to make a video because I've been looking forward to my birthday for a very long time. But now that it's finally here, I wanted to make a video about some other things that I am looking forward to. So today's video is 21 fall releases of 2021. So it's just going to be all of my most anticipated releases of this fall. So these are in really no particular order. It's just in the order of publication. So I will try to make sure to put the publication date up on the screen or to say it for you guys, and hopefully I will pop up some pictures of these books for you guys, but let's jump into it. So this first one comes out on September 7th, and that is The Last Legacy by Adrienne Young. And you've probably heard about Adrienne Young because she is the author of Fable and also Sky in the Deep, I think. And she is a very popular author. I haven't read either of those, but I feel like this one's finally my chance. I'm very excited about this, and I will hopefully finally get a chance to read some of her work. So The Last Legacy is a fantasy standalone about family and blood ties, reinventing yourself, and controlling your own destiny. And I feel like that's really all I need to know. The only reason this is one of my most anticipated releases is because I really want to read something from Adrienne Young, so I feel like this is a good way to start. So now we are moving on to September 14th, where we have Defy the Night by Brigid Kemmerer. You've probably heard of Brigid Kemmerer from her A Curse So Dark and Lonely series, which I have the first book of. I also have not read, but I am excited for this one. I actually was approved to get the ARC of this book, so I should be reading it sometime this month, and I will have a review out on Goodreads at some point too for you guys. But I'm very excited about this one. This is the first book in a new series. Defy the Night is about a kingdom divided by corruption, a prince desperately holding it together, and a girl who will risk everything to bring it crashing down. That honestly sounds right up my alley. I love fantasies like that, and I'm very excited to read this arc. Next up, we have a contemporary romance called It All Comes Back to You by Farah Naz Rishi. So the synopsis of this one is a little bit confusing, so I'm not sure if this will make sense for you guys. But basically, our main character's name is Kieran, and her sister just got a new boyfriend. And the new boyfriend's brother, Dean, just happens to be Kieran's ex who ghosted her. And Kieran wants to know why Dean ghosted her, but he will do anything to make sure that she does not find out the truth. This one just sounds really interesting because it sounds like we have potential for a second chance romance, and I love the fact that it's kind of enemies to lovers because they didn't end on the best of terms, and now they're kind of forced to bump into each other because of their siblings' new relationship. So I think that's very interesting, and it kind of sounds right up my alley, and also the cover was really cute. On September 21st, we have When Sparks Fly by Helena Hunting, and Helena Hunting has quickly become one of my favorite authors. I've read a few books by her at this point, and I've enjoyed both of them. This is an adult romance. It's also a best friends to lovers, which is so cute. I love those books. I just think they're adorable, and sometimes you just need a really sweet book like that. So I am excited that this one's coming out, and I know I'm going to love Helena Hunting's writing. The thing about Helena Hunting is that she will also definitely tug on your heartstrings, and this follows Avery, who ends up getting in a car accident, so she kind of needs help living through her daily life. So Avery's best friend Declan becomes her caretaker, and they get closer than ever. I'm going to be honest, the only thing I needed to know about this book was that it was by Helena Hunting, and again, the cover is adorable, so this one is definitely one I'm excited to pick up. On September 28th, we have probably my most anticipated release in this fall, and that is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. And you've probably heard of Stephanie Garber because she wrote the Caraval series, which I've talked about nonstop. It's probably been all over any of your book platforms anyway, but it's one of my favorite series of all time, and I cannot wait for this book. I literally have 3 versions of this book on its way to my apartment. I've pre-ordered so many versions, and it's actually the first book I pre-ordered, so I am very excited. This is the first book in a new fantasy series, but it takes place in the same world as Caraval, which I am so excited about, and we get to see a lot more of Jax, if you remember him from that series, and he was actually one of my favorite characters, so I think that's really cool. So our main character, Evangeline, was raised in a curiosity shop where she grew up hearing stories about immortals like the Prince of Hearts. She knows that his powers are mythic, his kisses are worth dying for, and his bargains rarely end well. But then Evangeline learns that the love of her life is about to marry another, so she is desperate enough to go to the Prince of Hearts and ask him to stop the wedding. The prince only asks for 3 kisses in return, but after the first kiss, Evangeline learns that he wants more than she pledged. I feel like that's really all I need to say about this one. Obviously, I'm super excited. The next one we have is actually a Hanukkah romance called The Matzo Ball, and that is by Jean Meltzer. And I love festive reads, so there's actually a few festive reads on this list, and this one's really cute. I've never read a Hanukkah romance. So this book follows Rachel, who is a nice Jewish girl with a shameful secret. She actually loves celebrating Christmas, and she's actually a Christmas romance writer. Her publisher insists that Rachel write a Hanukkah romance, so Rachel tries to find her muse at the Matzo Ball. And the Matzo Ball is basically a Jewish musical celebration. Through this whole situation, she also ends up being forced to work with her arch enemy from summer camp. So I love that. It's a festive romance. It has enemies to lovers. It also has a main character who's a writer, and that's really all I need. Now we are on to our October releases, and the first date is October 5th, and this date has another one of my most anticipated releases of the fall and of this entire year, and that is Kingdom of the Cursed by Carrie Maniscalco. And you probably know I'm obsessed with Kingdom of the Wicked. I have a full review on this channel as well, so I will try to link that somewhere for you guys. But I cannot wait. This is the sequel. I'm so excited to see more of the characters in this world. I think the world building is amazing. I can't wait to see what happens with the romance, because Kingdom of the Wicked was considered young adult, but this one is considered new adult. So we're going to get a little bit more spice, and I am very excited. Carrie Maniscalco has posted some little excerpts from the book on her Instagram, so I've been looking at those, and it's making me more and more excited. After that, we have Vespertine by Margaret Rogerson, and you've probably heard of her as the author of Sorcery of Thorns or An Enchantment of Ravens. I have read An Enchantment of Ravens, and I really enjoyed it, so I'm excited for this one as well, and I definitely heard a lot more about this book recently, so that's making me even more excited. Vespertine is a young adult fantasy about a girl with mythic abilities who must defend her world from restless spirits of the dead. Up next, we have 2 more festive reads, and the first one is Nick and Noelle's Christmas Playlist by Cody Hall. All I really know about this one is that it is friends to lovers. It takes place on their family's Christmas farm, and it says that it includes all of our favorite Christmas songs. So that makes me really excited, because one of my favorite things about Christmas is the music. So I'm really excited to see how they incorporate the songs into the story as well. The next one is The Holiday Swap by Maggie Knox, and this seems like a food-centric Christmas romance, and it's combining like all of my favorite things in romances, so that makes me really excited for this one. So Chef Charlie gets hit in the head on the set of her baking show, and she loses her sense of smell and taste. And obviously, if she's on a baking show, it's important for her to taste and smell, so she ends up asking her twin Cass to switch places with her. However, this twin swap gets really complicated when you throw in a handsome firefighter and a rugged physician's assistant into the mix. I love everything about this one. I am a sucker for anything involving food in books and also anything Christmas related, so I am sold on this one. We are now moving on to October 12th, where we have Tacos for Two by Betsy St. Amant. This is a food truck adult romance, so we have another food-centric read, which I'm so excited about. And this one follows Rory, who inherited a food truck from her aunt, but she's struggling to keep it afloat because she can't cook. Her only hope to save the truck is to compete in Mathis' annual food truck festival. Our other main character is Jude, who is absolutely tired of being a puppet at his father's law firm. And Jude sees the food truck festival as the perfect opportunity to dive into his passion. The catch is, if he loses the food truck competition, he's back at the firm for good. Also, apparently, the two of them were talking online, I'm assuming through like a dating app or something, and they didn't realize that's who the person was in real life, so I'm sure that will definitely complicate things at some point. But I'm really excited for this one because the plot of this reminds me a lot of Simmer Down by Sarah Smith, which was another like food truck romance, and I loved that book, so I have pretty high expectations for this one. On October 9th, we are finally getting the companion novel to Well Met by Jen DeLuca because Well Matched is coming out, and I'm so excited. I love this world and these characters. Just the fact that it takes place at a Renaissance fair is so fun. It's such a great setting, and even though I've never been to a Renaissance fair, I feel like by now, especially on this third book, I will definitely feel like I am experiencing it for myself, and I'm just excited to see these characters again. And Jen DeLuca's writing is just so fun, and it always makes me smile. So Well Matched follows April, who is about to be an empty nester, and she decides that she doesn't really want to stay in that town anymore, so she wants to move, and she asks her friend to help her fix things up around the house so she can sell it. And the friend that's helping her is named Mitch, who is known as the life of the party and also for wearing a kilt at the Renaissance fair. And in exchange for him helping April, he says that he needs her to pretend to be his girlfriend at an upcoming family dinner. Like I said, I love these characters and I love this world, and I also love this plot concept. The fact that there's fake dating is one of my favorite romance tropes, so I just can't wait for this one. On October 26th, we have another food-centric romance, and I'm very excited. This one is called Donut Fall in Love by Jackie Lau. Ryan is an actor taking some time off to grieve the death of his mother. Innovative baker Lindsay meets Ryan after he knocks over 24 donuts at her bakery, but there's no denying their immediate attraction for each other. Ryan ends up signing up for a celebrity baking show, but he needs Lindsay's help, so that seems like a very interesting dynamic, and I love the fact that they got off on the wrong foot, but now they're kind of helping each other out, and also it seems to have an emotional tie with Ryan dealing with the death of his mother, so that's kind of the perfect recipe for a romance that I think I'm going to love. On November 2nd, somehow we have another donut-related book, which I think is so fun. This one is called The Donut Trap by Julie Tu. I'm not sure how to say her name. I really tried to look up how to pronounce it and I could not find anything, so sorry in advance, but this one sounds really adorable as well. Jasmine returns home to work at her parents' donut shop, and she's relied on more than ever after a hike in rent. Help comes from Alex, who is her former college crush who checks all the boxes until this disastrous dinner that proves he's not so perfect after all. With both sets of parents against their relationship, the family legacy about to shut down, and the reappearance of a high school flame, Jasmine must find a solution to help her family and find a way out of the donut trap. Somehow this one kind of reminds me of A Taste for Love by Jennifer Yen, which I read back in February and really enjoyed. It just gives me those same vibes because there's an interesting family dynamic that is being dealt with. There's also the potential for a romance, and then we also have some kind of like bakery or deli like food relationship. So I think that's really interesting, and I'm really excited to see how it goes, especially because there could be a love triangle with the high school flame and the college crush. So we will see what happens with that one. Then we have You've Reached Sam by Dustin Thau, which is a contemporary romance. 17-year-old Julie has her whole life planned out. She's going to move away from her small town with her boyfriend, attend college in the city, and spend a summer in Japan. But then her boyfriend Sam dies, and it changes everything. And desperate to hear his voice one more time, she decides to call his voicemail, except he picks up. This book sounds so heartbreaking, but also really interesting because of the fact that he does pick up the phone. So it seems like there's some like fantasy elements or like magical realism in a way. So I'm really interested to see how that goes. I'm not sure how they're going to work that into a contemporary romance, but I cannot wait to find out. The cover of this is also really adorable, so I just really want to own this one and have it on my shelves. The next one is Skin of the Sea by Natasha Bowen. And this is her fantasy debut, and this book is inspired by West African mythology, which is really cool. I love mythology, but usually it's Greek mythology, so I am really excited to dive into a different type of mythology. This is also described as Children of Blood and Bone meets The Little Mermaid, and that is really all I needed to be intrigued by this book. I loved the duology that we have of Children of Blood and Bone. I think there's supposed to be more, but right now it's only been 2 books and it's been a while, so I'm not really sure about that. But I loved those books, and I also love the story of The Little Mermaid, so I'm very curious to see how these two are woven together. Our main character serves the gods as a mermaid, collecting the souls of those who die at sea. But then a living boy is thrown overboard and she saves his life. She then must journey with the boy to the Supreme Creator to make amends. It also says that this includes vengeful gods, treacherous lands, and legendary creatures. And this one sounds really cool. I actually hadn't even heard about it until I was doing research for this video, and the cover caught my attention, and I'm so glad it did because this sounds like an amazing fantasy. I feel like I'm really gonna love this one. The next one is You Can Go Your Own Way by Eric Smith, and this is another contemporary fantasy. Adam is determined to protect this pinball arcade, which is the only piece of his dad that he has left. Whitney's parents split up, she lost all her friends, and her boyfriend dumped her. So now she's spending her summer running the social media accounts for her dad's chain of gaming cafes. But then a huge snowstorm hits, and Adam and Whitney find themselves trapped in the arcade together, away from their families and the pressures that they are under. I'm really excited to see how this one goes as well. I feel like it sounds really emotional and sweet, and also I really used to love, when I was reading Wattpad stories, I used to love those stories where people were like trapped at the school together because of a snowstorm or something like that. So I am excited to finally find a book that has that trope, because I feel like I don't see that too much in romances, at least not the ones that I've read. So I'm really excited to see how that goes. And also it's really cool that it involves arcades, because I love arcades. Up next, we have I Hate You More by Lucy Gilmore, and this is a romantic comedy, and it's also enemies to lovers. So those are 2 of my favorite things when it comes to movies and books, and really all I needed to know after looking at the adorable cover. Our main characters are a grumpy dog show judge and a former beauty queen. And the cutest character is probably the golden retriever, who is more set on stealing bacon than winning the competition. Also, the grumpy dog show judge is also a veterinarian, so I think that's really cool. I love any stories that involve dogs. I love dogs with all of my heart, and I miss my dog back home, so I'm excited to get my dog fix. This last one for November 2nd is actually a festive read, and that is called Blame It On The Mistletoe. Blame It On The Mistletoe is by Beth Garrett, and it is a Christmas rom-com. It's described as Tweet Cute meets The Holiday, which is so fun. I really enjoyed Tweet Cute as well. I thought it was adorable, and I loved the food element, so I'm not sure if this one has a food element, but that sounds really cute. And I've also, don't know if I've seen The Holiday, but I've heard really great things. I know it's a very popular Christmas movie. Elle is a social media star looking to shake up her content and gain new followers. So she's basically on a mission to find a British fan to swap places with her for Christmas. Holly loves everything about Christmas, but after a mishap under the mistletoe with her ex, all of her perfect plans are starting to unravel. So Holly tries to save her holiday by switching places with her favorite social media influencer. Elle gets more than she bargained for with the cute boy across the street, and Holly had no idea that Elle had a handsome twin brother herself. I just really love books where characters try to switch places. It does give me a little bit of anxiety and sometimes secondhand embarrassment, which is sometimes hard to push through, but I think there's usually a really fun outcome, and I love that we're going to have 2 romances going on. I think that's really cool, and it takes place during Christmas time, so I don't know what more I could want. And then the very last fall release I'm looking forward to comes out on November 9th, and that is Court by Tracy Wolff. And this is definitely another one of my most anticipated releases for this fall. This is the 4th book in the Crave series, and this is a series that I definitely went into with an open mind because I did not expect to love it as much as I did. I honestly thought I was going to think it was really cliche and for a younger YA audience, but I fell in love with this world and Tracy Wolff's writing. These characters are some of my favorite characters I've ever read about, and each book just somehow gets way better than the one before it, which I didn't know was possible, and we always end on a cliffhanger, so I really need to know what happens. Alright, so those are all of the fall releases of 2021 that I am anticipating. I am not sure if anybody made it to the end of this video. I know it is a long one, but hopefully you enjoyed this video and found some new books to look forward to. Please let me know down below what books you are excited for this fall. I would always love new recommendations. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. It would literally make my day. And if you do subscribe, please click the notification bell so you know when I upload next. Thank you guys so much for watching. I can't wait to see you in my next video.